Um, Hi. Was meant to be like a series of some sort where I talk in Minecraft, but I kind of started on accident and I kind of got too carried away. So this is my house. Very nice looking house. But yeah. So this series is supposed to just be me talking to myself and an extension people who watch this video or who happen upon this video, right? My roof here. Nice roof. But the reason why I've wanted to do these kind of videos was because one of the things that inspired me growing up to be a content creator was Stampy Longnose. He was one of my first ever YouTubers I've ever gotten to watch ever growing up. So I mean, following his footsteps is a bit of a dream come true in a sense. I'm playing on 1.12 because I can't be bothered with the new version. I tried playing the new version, but like, it's so exhausting. Like, it's too much for me. Um, Weird, you know? It's like, I've also been starting this journey to content creation. I've never really done content creation in my life before. Well, earlier this year, I was able to get started on it. Mainly because I really don't have anything else to do, and I don't really feel as if there's music. I don't know. I don't think anything else kind of fulfilled that need for an outlet in any sort of a way. I tried sports for a bit, the rec league, but I couldn't really get into it that much. Um, Even though, oh my god, screw this shit on me. That is kind of loud. um, Lucky jumps. Yeah, that's good. I guess what I kind of wanted to say is that I hope that I have fun making these type of videos, and I hope that you get sort of entertainment. um, anyway, yeah, I am a VTuber. I don't think you could tell that right now. I don't have a model on. I just think it's just like it's like kind of like a weekly slap minus the emotional attachment, I guess, or it might include. Oh my god, it's gonna shit on me. I don't think I am vulnerable in that sense, so you won't really get that much stuff out of me when it comes to my feelings or something like that. But what I would say is that hope that my videos would be a calming way just to calm down, you know? I think life, wow, what a description. But I think that as kind of life progresses into something that we are not familiar with or comfortable with at this age and this time, I hope that these kind of videos would help you reach a sense of calmness, you know? There's a lot of things that is unclear in this world, like whether or not things would be okay the next day, or if you'll see a light of an end of a tunnel you're in, you know? But I think I could I could make some sort of alleviation to those stresses in the world, in your world, really. I kind of want. We'll start today with something that's a bit more lighthearted. Oh my gosh, who's that? Anyway, I'll start something more lighthearted. Um, to everybody who's listening, if you are graduating high school, college, middle school, elementary, congrats, man. You know, that is a huge milestone in your life. And although you may or may not feel like it is that big of an accomplishment, it is. Oh my gosh. You know, like not a lot of people are in a position to graduate. Not a lot of people are in a position to go to school. You know, so I think that you should feel very accomplished. You know, I think unless like you kind of like finesse your way through college, and that's a whole other thing. You know, but yeah, congratulations if you made it to another grade. Congratulations if you can't sprint in the swimming. Um, you're going from 12th grade to 11th grade, going for like 12th year or 10th year or something. I don't even know, you know? There's a plethora of things going on in the world, and if you are progressing in that with and you're very, very proud of it, I am proud of you, you know? Or I guess if I'll repeat it, I'm very proud of you, you know? That's something that you've worked very hard for, but that's something that you should be very proud of, you know? You've worked hard, you learned things that you may think is uh, not really important or doesn't have that much importance to you. But I think the fact that you're able to learn it and apply it to things in the world, that's very honorable. That's very nice. That's awesome. Really, you know? There's things in life that you may not know that I think education will help you in, you know, in one way or the other. It won't really teach you how to survive in like a Last of Us encounter or a It Takes not It Takes Two, but what's like I don't know the game name where they're like Neo girl and then like someone dies or something like that. But I'll probably put it somewhere. But that's an accomplishment, man. You know, I hope that you're proud of it. That it's not shrouded in things and regrets, and that you'll be able to succeed in your future. Now, I think a question I've brought upon myself, which is the reason why I kind of want to talk about that, is, you know, like my own education. You know, I am in college, but I have a lot of questions with regarding like uh, what I want to do with my education, whether it was worth it or not, or just my whole journey with it. I am graduating soon. I'm very happy with that. You know, I've worked very hard to graduate. You know, I've gone through my own struggles in my life to achieve this kind of stuff. So this is a very amazing feeling for me. But you know, when the question that I always ask that question of myself is like, is it worth it? You know, there's a lot of like things around. You know, you hear a lot of new outlets and all that saying like it's a bad time to be working, or it's a bad time to uh, do stuff in the workforce. But I think I don't like to think about like that stuff too much, because there's a sense of belief I have within myself where I think, or really I know that I will succeed, or whether or not I do get what I want or need. Um, you know, content creation like this is not going to be set in stone. You know, like I don't have the community or the growth or anything like that to make a stable a living. So nothing is guaranteed for me in the next couple years or so. But I'm behind the scenes. I've been trying to find a way to, I guess, prove to myself that what I've gone through is worth it. I think that's a big, question and idea of oneself, is whether or not what you've done in your life is worth it. That's a question not a lot of people are really wanting to answer, mainly because like that's too much of a heavy hitter in a sense, where you think it's worth it, but when you really truly think about it, you're not too sure, because you've been told, or you've seen your whole life where people who were in your exact position do not, or are not able to support themselves, and you are afraid to really be like that. And I think that's okay. No one has everything figured out. It'd be nice, it'll be so nice, right? Where you can just um have things already settled down for you, have a living situation that's handled for you, have stuff in your life just fall into place the way you expected it to be. The unfortunate part about that is that it's never like that, and you question yourself, like, is it because I wasn't worthy enough for it, or is it because of whatever reason you give yourself, and to that, I think that's not healthy. you know there's a wording, there's a phrase for that, or really just a thing known for that, which is imposter syndrome, where you feel unworthy of the position you're in. you know it sucks, because like it feels like you have to diminish everything you do to justify your current circumstance, good or bad. Mainly it goes circles around being the good situation, like you have a scholarship and you got it over some other kid, or like you've reached a certain stage in your life and then you question whether or not you deserve it. And with that, it's scary to think about that, because you question everything. You question your value, you question your place of belonging, your intelligence, your physical capabilities, and all that, And I've seen most of that affect uh, really smart people, really athletically gifted people. And it's when people, it perpetuates a cycle of just insecurity, where people either praise or degrades the well-being of others as a way to cope with their own situation. Everybody has someone that they don't think is deserving of what they have right now, Like, I think almost everybody could attest to that, where they feel as if the person that they see as unworthy achieve things that you believe they do not earn. And you hate that. You hate that so much to where you would want to like invoke these negative emotions onto those people. Can I make glass panes? Oh. And to that, I think it is a very selfish thing to do when you tell yourself that the person, that a person, are not worthy of a certain thing because you don't have that certain thing. And I understand, right, that like people will have their opinions about other people, and you know, they are entitled to feel that certain way. However, if it's at such a damaging cost where no one is improving upon themselves to reach that uh success, instead of like critiquing their own selves and like putting the effort to improve themselves, that's not healthy. Like, I don't want to have this feeling every time I see a person who has more, who's taller than me, right? And like if they're taller than me, then I don't go out of my way to harass or like abuse this person, because like what kind of good comes out of that, you know? Like there's not a lot of good things that come out of that except for like validation, that you feel good about yourself for attacking a person. I think that just is morally irreprehensible, because that means I have to critique everything. I have to like come to terms with that I don't like this person for the reason that they have things that I don't have. I think that's jealousy. I may be wrong. You correct me, but to me, I just don't want to do that. It makes me feel badly about myself, because it feels like, because at the end of the day, it's like, what am I doing? You know, am I making things better for myself? Am I choosing what's best for me? I would like to think so, but it boils down to whether or not I'm doing it, you know? And if I'm making any progress. If I'm not making progress, then what's the point? What's the point in telling somebody to hurt themselves because they are not grateful? How do I make bricks? Well, do I feel satisfied with myself for telling a person that they should be able to feel bad about themselves? I'm not really, you know? Like, I want to feel as if I'm doing something good by improving upon myself, you know? Like, I don't want to keep telling myself that this person who's in a better position as me should, like, should not feel a certain way, you know? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Let me terracotta staircase. Lab. I don't think I could expand on that yet. It just makes me feel wrong, you know? Like all things that make you feel wrong should make you feel wrong for a reason. Well, clay, I can. Like there shouldn't be a reason where you are jealous of somebody, but that feeling is validated, you know? And that goes to any sort of person or accomplishment. Like you're gonna hate someone because you got a degree. You're gonna hate someone because they have something you don't. You know, like whenever people talk about that, it's a lot more blunt. You know, it's like I see it with a lot of streamers. They're like, if you feel like that a certain way, suck my fucking, you know, like whatever. Like you talk shit, you know. But it's a conversation that people don't take seriously enough because people just want to validate themselves to like accepting their own reality or forming their own reality about how they're living their life. But it just but when it comes at a cost to another person's like well-being, then what's the point? Because if you're just hurting other people to feel better about yourself, that's wrong. Because at the end, because when you look back at it, like, what did you do? Like, what kind of progression did you do outside of just making someone else's life more miserable? Then it probably is, you know? Like, do you think that people who are in your position should make fun of other people? Like, it's like you do that and then you made it and then people do the same thing to you. Is that fair? Like, you have to think about it in like other people's perspective. You can't just assume that things in your life should be applied to everybody else's, you know? Because that's very manipulative and it's wrong. It's very wrong. And that's why I think like jealousy is such a disease. A disease where like you can't, or I can't really fathom. I'm not saying that I don't feel like that either, you know? There are times growing up, right, where I'd think a person had, what in the hell? Anyway, I think there's times where I've seen people earn or attain certain things that I never felt like they really rightfully deserved, you know? And I'm not really afraid of admitting that because I'm able to kind of look back on that as kind of just me being kind of ungrateful and kind of in the position I was, you know? Like, for example, right? I'll kind of get into it, but I was in a very I was an okay student, I think. I think for what I've done, I did pretty well in school, you know? Um, Graduated high school. I got an associate's degree on top of that. And pretty good grades, you know, to go to a pretty good local school or university. But when I see people who I've interacted with be able to go to those schools or some other school and like earn a certain like livable like wage or whatever, it's like, oh, it's like it did rile me up because I felt like those people who I've met weren't the, oh Lord, weren't the greatest, you know? They weren't like, and they weren't like some of them were unfounded, of course, you know? Like most of it was like, oh, they just kind of I got like a bad good feeling. There's some other people who were just straight up horrible human beings, you know? Who did stuff, my friends and people who I just know or people I don't even know, you know, they harassed them and then just made it a lot more difficult to kind of live their lives. And to me, it's like, what, like, why? You know, it's, I question that. But when I grew older, I started to think that I was just being really negative. I was in a situation where I just felt emotionally immature and not in the right state of mind. And I think at the time it was scary. I at the time I didn't really know what my future was going to be like. I never really thought that far ahead. But now that I'm here, it's like, oh, you know, I was just a kid. Well, I was just a kid trying to find my own way. I know, little sheep. I know. I was able to turn that kind of emotional maturity towards my education and got it to improve. When people say like you should turn that emotion into really more productive, I took that advice and ran with it. and was able to get good schooling, some good opportunities here and there. I know for a fact that I'm not done yet. You know, there's things I still have to learn. I have stuff that I'm not really well versed in knowing or doing properly. But I think I'm learning very slowly, at a very slow rate, of course. But I feel like I'm going in the right direction. Ah, what's that? Yeah, flower pot. I think that's going to be it for today, really. Um, if you did like this video, let me know. You know, I want to do this kind of videos every so often. You know, maybe do a math video here or there or something like that. Talk about my interests or something while I chill out for a bit. Um, I hope that whoever finds this video or like does something, you know, I hope that I made sense. I hope that I encounter, or I guess like talked about every other nuance that could possibly like make my rants a bit more understandable. I not really mentioned it, but like yeah, everything is different. Every situation, every feeling is different. You know, I hope that I kind of loosely generalized it, so that it made more sense to you. Like it kind of did to me when I think about it, but it's up to you. You know. Let me just. Uh, yeah. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, do all that whatever stuff. You know. I'll see you.